I have started to introduce you, Tatjana from Germany, Tatjana managing partner of Mendel Verlag, and that the company started as publishing house and has expanded to become content or data provider, for instance, for access to markets database. So Kolja, we are excited to hear your experience about the journal and of being the editor.
Okay, so I try to share screen for a very brief presentation. I take the whole screen because this is easier. Then you may see yourself for a second and switch to presentation mode. Okay, so you see my presentation?
Yes, thank you.
So I just have to switch it around with all the screens. Okay, so thank you for the introduction, Enrica. And well, you already, well, in a nutshell, put the main point. I just have to say that I'm representing or substituting Anna today, who had a time conflict. So you will see whether I'm a imperfect substitute or not. And indeed, I am not only a publisher by training, but so to say by legacy, because my parents started into publishing in the 60s of the last century. This was when the world was still black and white. And already in the 90s, we evolved to, or we started evolving to a data content and related service provider. And today we can clearly say we are the leading European provider of global trade related data content. And apart from global corporations, we also serve governmental institutions in different parts of the world, so not only Europe, but also in Asia or Southern America. And our daily focus indeed is on applied tariffs, preferences, the route of origin, and import formalities. And this has been complemented by export control and sanctions. So that's the classical canon of data content. And interestingly enough, doing all this in the 0 years, in the 10 years, we basically wanted also to get back to classical publishing, which well is a slight underestimation so far as we, together with Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, can say we are publishing the 50 Shades of Grey of German foreign trade literature, which is a publication on global import regulations of arbitrary destination countries, which sells still in 18,000 copies, which is quite a number for foreign trade. Of course, this has to be borne in mind. When thinking about publishing in foreign trade, one should be aware that publishing on vegan cuisine or on horses maybe just from the reachable audience be more promising. But well, since we are customs specialists, maybe that's not our field. So, and just to say this about this publication together with the Hamburg Chamber, which is called, translating it into English, Consular and Sample Requirements, which is maybe a little complex, but it has a 100 years history, therefore maybe the more complex title. We still see that the majority of users, also it's offered clearly electronically and in print, still want a print a publication they can have in their offices, they can have on their desktops. And so we clearly decided for a classical publication, which, and this was an idea, should not directly look like a customs journal, but more like a modern publication with a clear graphical layout, and which should also have, and this is the presentation of it, should, or the visual presentation should have also, as we write here, an optic and haptic dimension and a high quality layout. And the challenges in doing so, I was really in a way, how to say this best, relieved that the actual issues you do have as a publisher are apparently the same Laura has at WCO, which is definitely also a high quality magazine in the form it is presented. But also the others speaking, trying to maintain certain standards in not only subject matter but also in those today more forgotten aspects like orthography and grammar is a challenge as some of the foregoing speakers said, not everybody can write in the same way. So you see people who write a lot and whose main technique seems to be paste and copy. This is something we wouldn't publish, but we see it frequently. And there still is a difference between an opinion pasted or posted on LinkedIn and an article, which we remember what we learned in school some years ago or some decades ago. An article should have something like a beginning, a main part, and a result. And I can only say that as to my personal observation, these classical techniques of writing tend to get forgotten a little in this fast going world of posting something somewhere. And yeah, as Michael Wolfgang said, there is, interestingly enough, apparently quite some interest in publishing, but this does not necessarily meet criteria which you can then with good conscience share with others. One thing I just wrote below here is the point that there's also, I think this has been brought forward by internet developments, that some people can't even clearly distinguish between I do a contribution and I want to do an advertisement. The only advertisement in publishing I would accept is the one that somebody shows his competence and maybe ask for this one, but not in a way that you buy you in with a certain meaning or opinion. This is something you sometimes have to explain consultants. I just have started with the end. So I, for reasons of good order, just say that we are a little exotic in this field, but we were asked to contribute. So we're doing, we are publishing in German, not because we can't speak English. This was really an idea to focus on the German trade audience. And we are collaborating with Außenwirtschaftsrunde in English Front Trade Circle, which is a little advertisement here. Indeed, the German practitioners organization, fast growing and really having a very practical focus. And practical focus is still something different if practitioners are amongst each other and speak to each other, or if consultants or lawyers or service providers speak to practitioners. So we really try to have this practitioner dialogue. And also these may not be all WTO or EU law experts. It is still that they do have a view on this, and that they are actually influenced by it. If we look, and this is, by the way, something I also see constantly when Michael Wolfgang writes this in his editorials, trying to give an overview of how foreign trade-related aspects are connected to world policy. So the conflict between US and China really influences a lot actual trade measures like new Chinese legislation, and we've seen the tariff conflict, something we actually have to do with on our daily basis by having the data content brought aligned with those developments. So we really like the, let's say, practical production of foreign trade data and the more taken back overall view how this is all connected. And this may also be when just getting rid of these slides and saying we look in customs taxation, UIT procedures, and export control. So basically everything with a practical implication we try to relate to the horizontal view of how this is embedded in overall trade and world policy dimensions. So let's just stop this here and go back to video. I suppose you see me. So
Yes,
Enrica, so I can't see my watch
we
here.
see
So
you.
Yeah, I know, but how many? You said 10 minutes strict. I've spoken 11 or 8.5. I don't know.
The talk was so great. You received a compliment on chat and the request for slides, so we forgive you those 1 or 2 minutes.
No, I'm not sure. So you didn't stop it. So I thought you were doing strict time control. WCO is very strict, as you learned last time. 8 minutes sharp.
Okay,
so in a nutshell, and to finalize, it is indeed like the other said. It's a constant struggle in a positive way to maintain quality and to have something which really is targeted to the user's focus. And then I just missed one point, if this is allowed. There's one thing where I think there's still, and this is something what also you I think did with your initiative. There is this level of the academic journals, which are sometimes discussing legal aspects whom you don't only understand when you're really absolutely within the subject matter. What the practical outcome sometimes is a little difficult to see for the actual practitioner. And you then have this base level where people just are told the 115th time what a supplier's declaration is. So this gets boring at a certain point in time. I think where there still is space is indeed going in the middle and without any compromise to subject matter quality, just try to speak to the practitioner in the practitioner's language, and he may not be interested in theoretical legal aspects. And as a very last point, this in Germany for us was indeed something practical insofar as both levels existed, and we just tried to go in the middle. Whilst in other countries, and I think this is also important takeaway, there aren't any journals or any kinds of publications. Whilst you can, as you say, learn a lot from them if you follow them. I think I have all the German journals subscribed, which is quite a pile. So in other countries, this may not be the case. And I think a very specific challenge is if you really publish something very international, because then you really have to like Jeff does, have to try to really target all of them, and they may have very different problems. Okay, I'll close here for a while.
So thank you, Kolja. Indeed, we researched many countries and discovered that there are no journals on customs. And as you mentioned, people say, oh, but we have a lot of blogs, we have posts on LinkedIn, so you can read this one and this one. I also always say there is a big difference whether you write a post or whether you write an article. So I agree totally with you. Thank you, Kolja, very much.